Yes. Hello, you're in the Sports Zone with the Professor.
Hey, good night. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, just give me a second there, Debbie. Ladies and gentlemen,
All right.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Debbie Ferguson-McKenzie. And she's from the Bahamas. And I tell you, Debbie is a very established track and field athlete. Back in 1999, she actually won the Austin Seeley Trophy as being the most outstanding athlete at the Carifta Games. Over the years, she has won 7 gold medals and 9 silver medals at the Carifta Games. And what she did, she took that to the senior level. And at the senior level, she won gold in 2000 at the Sydney Olympic Games down there in Sydney, along with her Golden Girls partners there for the Bahamas. So again, this is a very established and a very impressive. And I tell you, I don't have enough adjective to describe you here, Debbie, but thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you coming on. So how are you doing there, Miss McKenzie? How are you doing there? How is everything out there? How is everything going with you?
I am good. A little bit snowed in at the moment, but hopefully by tomorrow it will all melt away. But I am good. I'm alive and I'm well, and yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, you are. I tell you, Debbie, I noticed that, let me start off with you by congratulating you on your new position. I know that you're a coach out there at Southern Mississippi University. Congratulations. And how is that going for you?
Thank you. So far, so good. I think for me, initially, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, as an athlete. You give all your best, but I realized even in coaching, it's the same process. You start at the bottom. You're learning stuff as a young athlete, and you move up from, high school to whether it's Carifta, then college, NCs, then World Championship, Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games. And it's the same thing with coaching, being a hard worker and, sometimes a perfectionist. Things are never perfect, but actually just learning how to trust myself and realize, you know what? You know a lot. You have a lot to learn, but you know a lot, and I'm getting the job done. So far, so good. It's going well. Have a few athletes who, they've opened up their seasons with PBs, and, one of the athletes that I co-coach, he's actually got invited to go to, the U.S. indoor trials, and, I mean, that's a big deal for him. He's now broke a 13-year-old record in the 60-meter hurdles for men for the school. And,
wow.
I mean, that does your heart well as a coach, So the kids, they work hard. As I tell the kids every day, it's more than talent. You have kids who have the talent and don't push as hard. And so at the end of the day, it's not going to work through. But you just have to work hard and commit on the track and off the track. And, and what you give is what you receive. So I'm loving it.
I tell you, that's good. I can hear the passion in your voice. By the way, everybody, we have Debbie Ferguson-McKenzie, the Olympian from Bahamas, gold medalist, one of the original Golden Girls from the 2000 Olympic there. Now, Debbie, how has that transition been for you? I know that you have been a track athlete for the past 17 years at a very high level, and now you're transitioning over into coaching. How is that going, though, in terms of the transition?
You know what? I think, honestly, the good Lord makes no mistake. I think he had all this planned ahead of time, and everything is already mapped out. And honestly, I just have to trust it, and that's what I've been doing. And, in trusting it, things are falling into place, and everything that was meant to happen happened. And so once I trust him, all is well, and everything just fall into place, A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
right,
and all the way to Z. So wherever Z is going to lead me. But honestly, everything is going well. So far, so good. I'm, learn and harness from my experience as an athlete,
right,
some of the things that I wanted, out of my coaches, whatever the case is, as far as, you're listening, feedback, I give them choices, and, I think it's just working well. I think one of the hardest things for me thus far was, coaching men. And I was a little bit, anxious and nervous because I've never done that part before. However, I realized that it's actually easier than coaching women. So, yes, men are just logical.
Yeah.
Either it works or it doesn't work, and you show them that it does work, and then they believe you, and they work from there. And women, we're more emotional, and we need pampering and, nudge here and there. But It's awesome. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I didn't realize that I would have gone to coaching.
Right.
But as I said, everything that was meant to be is happening, and I'm loving it.
I tell you, Debbie, you have been competing. By the way, everybody, we're in the Sports Zone with the professor, and we have Debbie Ferguson-McKenzie, the gold medalist, the Olympic gold medalist. She's on the show with us. Now, Debbie, you were able to compete for 17 years at a very high level. Proper nutrition, taking care of your bodies. Those were key, right? In terms of, being able to compete at that top level. Do you agree with that?
Yes. For sure, 100%. I think, you don't think of all the years that you put in, but honestly, I think it was just my passion. And I woke up every morning, giving my best, and, you're always learning for whatever you can correct. You try to correct that. And, I think I was talking to my coach the other day, and my college coach, and he mentioned, no name mentioned, but this is one coach of a particular athlete who actually, not to get involved with all that stuff and talk about it, but is a part of it. The athlete was involved with drugs. Mm-hmm. And however, I was able to run fast, still with this particular athlete that was involved with drugs, and, almost beat this particular athlete. As a matter of fact, I remember at this one competition, the athlete never spoke to me before, but on this particular day, the finals, the 200, she spoke to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, she was being so kind to me. But she was basically, playing the psyche game, and I was like, you know what, I'm so proud. At the end of the day, I was drug-free, and still, I was still kicking butt at the end of the day. So I'm blessed, I'm thankful. It's been a wonderful, as far as journey, and I've learned so many things along the way, and, and still learning. So, it's been a blessing.
I tell you, Debbie, you're an ambassador when it comes to that for your country, Bahamas. Now, Debbie, we know that as soon as I mentioned Bahamas there, I know that the World Relays are going to be held in your country, in the country of Bahamas, this summer. Are you excited about that? Uh-huh. This is going to be the inaugural. This is going to be the first IAAF World Relays, and it's going to be taking place in the Bahamas sometime in May 24th through the 25th. Are you excited about the prospect that everybody will be coming to your backyard, your home country?
Of course. I think it's one of those, as you said, like, oh my goodness, we in the Caribbean, we understand what it is. Because most of the time we're traveling out of the Caribbean for the major meets, or they're going to Europe or the U.S. or Canada or wherever the case is, or Australia. But, for everybody now to come, to the Caribbean, but especially to the Bahamas, I'm like, oh my goodness, they're coming to my home. And so I am really excited. I'm really pumped about it. And, just praying that everything goes off well without a glitch, and we give our best. From organization to performance, and hopefully it'll be successful.
Oh, very good. I tell you, I'm very excited about that too. I know, that's on my calendar, May 24th through the 25th down there in the Bahamas, at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Nice facility you guys have down there. Now, Debbie, I'm a little bit, how do you feel about the cancellation of this Chris Brown Invitational? I know that Chris Brown is a very dear friend of yours, and I heard last week that his Invitational is canceled. What's your reaction to that?
I was heartbroken because I got a chance to talk to people like Miss Campbell Brown and Justin Gatlin, et cetera, who've been to the inaugural last year at the meet. And, when you've been to a lot of meets like Zurich and Brussels and, A1, Diamond League meets, and they come back and they say, oh my goodness, it was awesome. It was a wonderful meet, organized, everything else. It does your heart proud. And I was proud of Chris to be able to pull it off and do a excellent job. And then now that athletes were coming back, looking back to return to Chris Brown meeting, it was canceled. But I think, I was a little bit disappointed because of the reason. At the end of the day, we have to realize that we can't wait as Caribbean folks, no matter what. We can't wait for last minute to do stuff.
Right.
And I think that was one of the disappointing thing with our federation as forced to repair the track. And so because they waited last minute to repair the track, then this time period they're going to have to use to repair the track for the World Relays. And I think that's the disappointing thing about everything. For Chris, my heart is broken for him because he was planning this in advance and getting stuff together, and now being told 2 weeks ago that unfortunately you will not be able to host your meet. I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, by the way, everybody, you're in the Sports Zone with the Professor, and we have Debbie Ferguson-McKenzie from the Bahamas. She's the Olympic gold medalist. She's from the Bahamas, one of the original Golden Girls. And, of course, we have her here with us on the Sports Zone with the Professor. Now, Debbie, we know that we have, and we have spoken about this in the past, Debbie, we have a bunch of good young talent out there in the Bahamas. We have two special ladies out there, Miss Miller, Shawnee Miller, as well as Strawn, Antonique Strawn. Do you think that you, along with Chandra, who had retired earlier this year or last year or late last year, do you think you guys have left the Bahamas sprinting in good hands with these two young ladies?
Honestly, yes, I think so. I know for Chandra, and her retirement, she has given a long time. I grew up watching her competing, and as far as with her retirement last year, she's done an excellent job. She's our national record holder in the 100 and a part of the relay. And as far as taking over, we traveled together in London, helping the girls, teaching them stuff as far as everything else. For sure. I, on the other hand, as I said, it's a difficult thing to do, but I, on the other hand, haven't officially retired just because I thought of, everybody's coming to my home. And I think I had mixed feelings where the Thomas A. Robinson, he was my godfather.
Wow.
And when he passed away, it was very touching for me. It was one of those he had planned to even come to the Olympics, but because he wasn't well, he wasn't able to come. He was there at the 1994 NCAAs for me, and when he came, honestly, I think stuff like that just touched my heart where I was able to run 10:94. I think second place was like 11-something in cold Buffalo weather, and, I haven't gotten a chance to compete in his new stadium. Right. So I just thought it fitting to hold on, and it's not easy, as I said, training on my own and trying to get things done. Just to hold on and be able to pay tribute to him in the new stadium. So we'll see what happens as far as that is concerned. As I said, you never could count me out. Look what happened last year in Moscow.
I did.
I didn't get a chance to run the whole summer, but, put a stick in my hand and they put me on the ankle leg, and I surprised myself. I ran an awesome race, came from either fourth or fifth place. We won our heat. However, first place, had touched the line, so we got disqualified. So, it's not over until it's over. As I said, just try to tell the kids, don't find excuses and complain about things. Complain doesn't help. Always try to find a way to make things work and not to complain about it. And that's what I'm trying to show them, live my life that way and just always try to do the right things, because at the end of the day, I have one life to live. My name is all I have. Right. And that to me is priceless.
Oh, I tell you, Debbie, you have been around for a while, and I tell you, you have always been there. That's the thing about you. Whenever it comes to these major competition, World Championship, Olympics, you're always there in the finals. And I know that you hold the Bahamian 200-meter record of 22:19, and again, that's very impressive. And I think it's going to be there for a while. Now, Debbie, what's next for you? You're indicating to me here that you might not truly retire as yet. Is that, can I draw that deduction from that we might see you?
You can.
Okay, so we might be seeing you there at the World Relays. Getting the stick or something this summer, right?
Yes. As I said, it's the relay. We have a few ladies, but we don't have the depth. And so at the end of the day, that's one of the things I thought about as far as, just being able to hold on for the relay and see what happens. It's home, and we don't have the numbers per se, like, of course, our fellow neighbor, Jamaica. They come a dime a dozen for Jamaica. But, as I said, it never hurts to see what happens, because hopefully, some of the collegiates can come back home to compete. But if the school doesn't allow them to compete, then we're going to be a little bit short. So that's my thing. And as I said, I'm just trusting it. Whatever is meant to be, O'Neill, is meant to be. Yes. And my faith is strong. I've come this far by faith. I ain't turning back now. I feel good about things, and just got to take it one day at a time.
Well, you know what?
So let's see what happens.
I tell you, I'm going to let you go. But one thing, I want to ask you last. Do you have any advice for these young and upcoming athletes? I know that you have so much stuff going on out there now in terms of all the negativity within the Caribbean. Do you have any advice for these young guys, these young and upcoming athletes in terms of, just drugs and doing their due diligence and just staying clear? Do you have any advice for those guys out there in the Caribbean?
For sure, yes. I always tell the athletes, whether present, upcoming, future, just dreaming, at the end of the day, nothing beats hard work. And, taking shortcuts, for example, like taking drugs, you might get away with a year or two, but then be reminded that, WADA and the other, drug testing companies, eventually they catch up with the testing and they improve on it. And then you get caught up into all that, get caught. Your name becomes, where one thing you're being a hero and then the next thing you're being talked about. I don't think it's worth it. And at the end of the day, if you have any coaches who are offering you, simple as just say no. It's that simple. If they don't want to coach you, then you find somebody else to coach you because, in my opinion, not all the coaches are to blame, but some of them are to blame. And the ones who aren't to blame, for the athletes, even doctors, whatever the case is, or nutritionists that try to tell you these things, just be aware. Just be wary. The grass is never greener on the other side. It's only greener where you water it, and that's through training, hard work, discipline, and that's the bottom line. So at the end of the day, as I said, I've been running for the past 27 years, and not once have anybody even mentioned my name and drugs in the same sentence because I've been drug-free. Now, a lot of athletes say, oh, yeah, I've been drug-free, but I have been drug-free. Don't even drink coffee, so it can be done. I've done it, and I've lasted a long time. So it can be done. Just work hard, keep dreaming, and keep working hard. And, 5 Olympics later, 9 World Championship later, I'm still doing it, so go ahead and get it done.
I tell you, Debbie, it's a pleasure having you on tonight. I really appreciate you coming and joining me, Debbie. I tell you, this is a pleasure. And you know what? I have to keep in touch with you, and I have to, I'm going to, keep an eye on you out there. And I really appreciate you coming on the Sports Zone with the Professor show and just, giving us some insight into all that's happening with you and all that. I really appreciate that. All right, Debbie?
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and all the best. Have a safe, warm night, and all the best for 2014.
Okay, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon, all right?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Debbie Ferguson-McKenzie, the Olympian. 200 in 2000, she and her Golden Girls teammate from the Bahamas actually won the Olympic gold medal in the 4x1. She's actually the Bahamian national record holder in the 200 meters at 22.19, and of course she has won at every conceivable level, at the Carifta level all the way through to the senior level. And of course, one of the things about Debbie Ferguson that is going to leave a indelible mark in my mind was her performance last year, as she mentioned there at the World Championship. She came from nowhere. You guys need to see that video. She came from nowhere to win that 4x1. I think her semifinals or her heats. So I think that performance really stood out in my mind. And again, I really appreciate Debbie Ferguson-McKenzie joining us here on the Professor in the Sports Zone show. And again, we'll be talking to her in the future again. But again, thank you so much for joining me. And again, we'll be right back after this. You're in the Sports Zone with the Professor.